This entitled soccer mom thinks she has the right to wake everyone up in a college dorm just so she can do some laundry. Well, these students have had enough. Happy birthday if today's your birthday, and on with the show. I was in college and had an off-campus house that I rented with some friends. The 2 previous years I had found someone to sublet my place over the summer, which offset some of the costs of housing while I was working my summer job. In spring of 2010, I was looking to do the same thing. At the time, I was working at a store loosely affiliated with the university when I got a call from a parent who thought she was calling someone from the university. I explained the distinction but said that I'd be happy to try and help her anyway. She told me she was looking for a place for her son to store a couple boxes over the summer. Now, we had a lot of students from all over the place, and storage companies knew it, so they would charge an arm and a leg for every little thing. I'm talking about like $250 a month to store 5 regular moving boxes. I told her that I had a house with a basement nobody was using, and her son could always keep his stuff in the basement for $150 for the summer. She liked the idea, and as we continued talking, we decided that he would take a look at the place and consider subletting it from me for the summer for $550 a month instead of the $1,200 a month that campus housing would charge. He liked it, so I drafted up a sublease agreement, just like I'd done with 3 previous subletters, got half a month's rent plus another $250 security deposit, and we had ourselves a deal. I told him, in person and in writing, that since he wanted to move in the day after my lease started on the place, not everything would be perfect. I'd need some time to get everything in, but he'd have at the very least a bed, desk, standing AC unit, and a fan. It is worth noting that once summer started, I was A. working a terrible traveling salesperson job that had me working 6 AM to 8 PM, and B. prepping to take the LSAT in mid-June. That said, I met him when he moved in and showed him the ropes. I rigged up the AC unit so that the condensation would drain out the window, so he didn't need to worry about it, and I gave him all the information he needed. 2 days later, I get a call from him at 10 AM saying that the AC was leaking. Okay, I told him, I'll be there after work. I get to the house at 9 PM, only to find that he did literally nothing about the problem. The AC was still running and leaking into the room. The carpet was soaked, and a bunch of my furniture was pretty heavily water damaged. I figured out how to get most of the water out of the carpet, turned off the AC unit, and told him that I'd come back with a window unit when I had the time to get one. The next day, he tells me that he wants to move out because it's too hot and the room now smells. I'm frustrated that he wants to break his lease because he decided not to do a darn thing to fix the problem that happened. But whatever. I went to the place to talk through next steps, and here was our interaction. I get that you want to leave, but we have a contract. What is your expectation about the money? My mom says that since I was only here a few days, you should refund the $475 I already paid you. That isn't really realistic. You damaged my room and are breaking the lease. I can offer you $100. You can keep your stuff here. Just let me know when you want it, and I'll let you in to get it. Well, I can't really say if that's okay. My mom wrote the check. I didn't sign the contract with your mom. I signed it with you. Your dad witnessed it. But it's not my money. I don't know if this is okay. Like I said, my contract is with you. It doesn't matter who pays me. The payment is on your behalf. Okay, I'll see what she says. He took my check and gave back my key. I thought the matter was over. It wasn't. Within an hour, I got multiple calls from both his parents. One was from his dad, who told me he was an attorney and would sue me for the $375 I stole from them, and the other was from his mum, who told me that she was going to 1. call the school and have me expelled, 2. call future employers and have any job offers rescinded, 3. sue me and make me pay back everything and more, 4. have me arrested for theft. It sounded crazy, so I had some friends and family listen to the message. Specifically, I had 2 attorneys and a judge listen, and all of them laughed, telling me just to ignore it, so I did. Worth noting, all of this went down the day before I took the, not making excuses, but I got a 156 on the exam and basically gave up on the idea of going to law school as a result. I was not thrilled with the situation, but I thought they were just blowing off steam. Oh boy, were they not. 3 days later, I get a call and an email from the Office of the Vice Provost for Student Behavior. I was working, so once I heard the sternly worded message that I needed to call back, I was, terrified. Was I really going to get expelled over this? I call and I learned that apparently I had presented myself as an agent of the university. I didn't. Told my tenant that my house was sponsored by the university. I didn't, and it wasn't. Stole hundreds of dollars from the family. Nope. Was stealing the tenant's stuff. I thought I was just being a decent person by letting him store his stuff without charging extra. Oops. After explaining, the person on the other end clearly recognized that I was representing things accurately. She even told me that I was relatively reasonable for writing that check for $100, as I really didn't have to, given that the damage was done to my room. She'd also told me that she'd told tenant's mum this was a dispute between a landlord and a tenant, and it had literally nothing to do with the university. The tenant apparently wanted to pick his stuff up, so I went back to the house that night and he took it. But it wasn't over. In September, I got another email, this time telling me to appear in person. Again, I got nervous as heck. Once I walked in, the person rolled her eyes and said that she just wanted to have me come in so she could tell this tenant's mum that she talked to me, so that the woman would stop calling. Apparently she'd called no fewer than a dozen times. But it still wasn't over. In December, my parents got a handwritten letter informing them of the tactics I was using to intimidate the tenant and his parents. As with the other letters, emails, phone calls, and miscellaneous threats, I ignored them. No lawsuit came. They lived across the country, and there's no way that a small claims court would have me reimburse $375 and pay $1,000 for round-trip airfares and hotels. I honestly would have been impressed if they decided to sue me on principle. The matter finally went away without the ruining of my life, my expulsion from school, rescinding of any job offers, or, well, any other consequences. But yowza, was that a bonzer of crap. It's like they don't understand that the contract is there for an actual reason. It's not just sort of this tradition that you do. If he was to refund the entire amount, how do they not realize it was perfectly reasonable for him to take the $375? It was his money for offering the service of the place to stay. Just because you've changed your mind doesn't mean you can take the money back. The cast: me, EK entitled kid, ESM entitled soccer mum, EK's mum, GA, grad assistant, my direct supervisor with Res Life. For context, for those who aren't familiar, RAs are college students who are responsible for dealing with issues their fellow resident students experience in the dorms. We enforce university policies, generally trying to keep the peace and keep everybody safe and healthy. A group of 4 girls on the soccer team lived catty corners to me, across the hall down one room. They threw loud parties every week, and their guests often trashed our floor, as well as threw drinks on my door, ripped down my flyers, etc. I was incredibly chill, and at most broke up their parties after issuing 2 warnings when I could hear them playing beer pong through my own closed doors, with headphones in. Never really called in campus security because I didn't want to be petty or make enemies. I had a pretty wild party life on the DL, and didn't want to lose my job or free housing. And thankfully, karmic justice was delivered. I got a text from EK one day saying she saw a dead bug in her room. She sent me a picture and I suspected it was a bed bug. I had them before in my own home, so I knew. I immediately reported it to the Res Life director and fumigation was scheduled for the next day. This meant that EK's whole suite had to clear out for 3 days, as well as the residents across from, next to, above, and beneath them. My roommates and I got to stay put. They also were advised to deep clean their rooms, wash all textiles in hot water, etc. I break the news to EK and her roommates in a group chat, and crap immediately hits the fan. Not half an hour later, my supervisor, GA, a super cool, mild-mannered, level-headed guy who just wanted to finish grad school and help college students, knocks on my door asking me to help out with the situation. EK's mother, ESM, is raising heck in her daughter's room. She's fuming about having to drive out in the middle middle of the night, 10 p.m.-ish, she lives in the next town over, like 15 minutes away, to help her daughter clear out these disgusting, squalid conditions. They have the door propped open so they can schlep all the personal belongings into the hallway and out to their cars. ESM is speaking very loudly, and it echoes in the hallway and stairs, disturbing the heck out of anybody in a 2-room radius. She goes on and on about being a social worker and knowing how bedbugs work and how horribly inconvenient and traumatic this whole situation was for her kid. And this all couldn't have come at a worse time because the girls have a game tomorrow and they need their rest. In the midst of all of this, GA and I stand by to show support and presence as university employees. We let ESM know that we're sorry for the massive inconvenience and happy to help with whatever we can to make this easier, but a lot of this is out of our control. At one point in her tirade, ESM pitches a fit about how all EK's bedding and clothing needed to be washed to prevent the spread of bedbugs. Imagine her displeasure that the 2 washing machines on our floor are currently occupied. Why are people doing laundry at this hour? I need these machines! Well, people keep different schedules. I'm sure the person will come back for their clothes when the cycle is done. You're welcome to use the washers when they're empty. Timer showed that there were maybe 15 minutes left. No, these need to be washed immediately in hot water. Bugs are living in my baby's room. I'm sorry, ma'am. These machines on the floor are full. We can try going to another floor's laundry room and see if they have open machines. It's not like it was a long trip either. At most, you had to walk 30 feet to the elevator, go up 1 floor, and walk another 30 feet to the next closest laundry room. Take that crap out. I don't care if the cycle isn't done. I need to wash these clothes now. She has a game tomorrow. I can't just touch someone else's clothes like that, but I can see if I can find someone who's doing laundry and ask them to take it out. In the meantime, I'll put an out of order sign on the door so you can have full access when the machines are empty, okay? Go find them and get their crap out of the washers. Do you know how much I pay in tuition? I should have exclusive access in this emergency, and I better not have to pay for laundry. Yep, I do. It's not a cheap school, but laundry is included in room and board, so it won't cost anything extra. Feel free to use whatever is available. Let me go find whose clothes are in the wash now. I reluctantly knocked on every door in my hall at 11 p.m. on a weeknight, sheepishly asking, "Hey, is anybody here doing laundry? A parent needs the machines ASAP." A lot of people didn't even bother opening the door. Those who did, quite crankily, said nobody's doing laundry and closed the door in my face. I reported these findings back to ESM, who did not take this well. They have a game tomorrow, doesn't anybody understand? I need these machines! I'm sorry, but I cannot and will not remove someone else's wet clothes from the machine, and I can't allow you to do it either. But I checked the 3rd floor and their laundry room is empty if you want to take everything up there. ESM threw a look at GA, like expecting him to override my statement and pitch some poor kid's stuff on the floor. OP is right, ma'am. We can't do anything about the taken washers, but you can use any laundry room in the building. Every floor has at least 2 washers and dryers, and it's late, so most machines should be free. OP, can you get some of the extra detergent from the duty booth, please? I happily oblige, grateful to leave this awful woman's presence for 5 minutes. ESM huffed out a fake-sounding thanks, and ultimately accepted that we'd done as much as we could. She was much more preoccupied hauling her daughter's stuff out in industrial garbage bags. I gave her a couple Tide Pod samples as a consolation prize and retreated down the hall to my room. The next day I ran into GA on campus and he thanked me for handling everything so well and apologized for that woman being so crazy. I said honestly, I'm not even mad. Those Fitches got bed bugs and I don't even have to move out of my room. Calmer if I've ever seen it. We share a laugh and the building got sprayed for bugs, and nobody wanted to party in a bed bug room for the rest of the semester. Can you imagine having your whole identity wrapped around winning some sort of sporting game the next day? The sad thing is it's not even her game, it's her daughter's game. It's like she doesn't realize that sometimes in life, crappy things happen to you and stuff doesn't go right. That's just how it works, and you can't blame other people for that. It's just what happens. I mean, I guess you could blame the bed bugs, but I mean, how are you gonna hold them accountable?
By exterminating them all.
For context, my father is a nearly blind man with double kidney failure. He barely listens to the doctor and always whines. To give you an idea of how entitled and out of touch this man is, he once said to me, "I don't get why your mother can drop $40 on gas a week, but can't spend $250 to get a new graphics card." Yeah, he is pretty entitled. So on to the story. My father sleeps on an air mattress in the living room because my parents' marriage basically fell apart 8 years ago. Long story short, my dad went on a rampage, accusing my mother of cheating, selling things with her sister, and then he cut up her shoe collection. And she doesn't even want to sleep in the same room anymore. Why they are still married, I have no freaking clue. Anyways, my cat jumped up on his bed and accidentally sunk her claws in it and popped it. Whatever. I offered to pay for a new bed, and that was for working out the price. However, I still had to take this man to the store. Here is our second time frame. 2 p.m, the bed is popped. 3 p.m, "Hey dad, ready to go to the store?" My father, "No, give me a second." 5 p.m, "Father, ready to go to the store?" "No, dinner's almost ready." 7 p.m, "Dad, store's gonna close soon." Father, "Let me finish this quest." 8 p.m, "Dad, get in the truck or you are sleeping on the floor." "Fine." So I finally get him in the truck, and as we get in the truck, my mother asked to see if the Home Depot is open because we need a new toilet seat for the master bathroom. Now at this point, I'd like to point out that due to the virus, most places in my town shut down at about 8 to 8:30. I ask my father explicitly if he wants to get his bed first because it's what the whole point of the trip is, and my mum acknowledged we might not be able to get the seat. He says, "No, let's just go to the depot." I decide not to argue the point. By the way, the whole car ride was just one big rant from my father about everything from how I'm a crappy driver, how my mum works too much, actually he had a point but he made it poorly, and how in general my generation has lost respect for all the things his generation used to love to do. So it's 8:15 and we get to depot. The parking lot is mostly empty, but my father insists we still check. As we are walking to the door, a female employee on her way out of the store, and she says, "I'm sorry, but we're closed. We open at 6 a.m. tomorrow." We start to walk back to the truck, but then the girl calls to someone, her ride home, in a very joking manner. "Gosh, I have to walk so far for you people." My father turns around thinking she is talking to us and starts to try to lecture the girl about being rude to customers, but at that point I cut him off. He gets in the car all huffy, even though I had just explained that she wasn't talking to us. So it's nearly 8:20 and our local Walmart closes at 8:30. As we get out of the truck at the store, I start to walk fast. My father says, "What's the rush?" I reply, "Well, the store closes soon and I don't want to hold anyone up." My father scoffs and says, "So long as we're in there, they'll let us get what we need." So because of how slow my father is moving, we reach the camping section at about 8:26. The 5-minute warning had already gone off. My father takes his time and by 8:35ish, he still won't grab a bed. So an employee tries to usher us along saying it's closing time. My father goes off on this guy. "Back in my day, if you could make a few extra sales, you'd do, and never mind if you have to close a bit later." The employee is trying to be nice about this, and I try to help him by hurrying my father along. He throws a fit and grabs a bed and starts huffily walking towards checkout. Quick sidebar, this man is wearing sandals, knee-high compression socks, swimming trunks, and a tank top he had been wearing for 3 days that had crumbs all over it. He also hadn't even tried to comb his hair. I mean, I get it's a quick store run, but like walking around with him dressed like this with his superior attitude was a weird contrast that I hope to illuminate here. On the way we walk past grocery and he decides he wants some green beans, so he walks down the aisle and takes his time looking for his favorite brand. For those who may ask, yes, I offer to read the labels for him. No, he doesn't let me. Once again, an employee tries to usher us out and my father once again starts to yell at this barely older than me guy who is just trying to go home. The usual, I am the customer and you need to do what is best for business and I'm giving you money sorts of deal. At this point I say, it's not your money, it's mine, and I'm going to pay, and then I'm going home. Whether you are with me is up to you. This gets him to at least follow me, trying to do the whole I am your father thing, but by this point I was kinda done. So I get to self-checkout, scan the bed, and I pay. We get in the truck, and the whole way home it's just, I never get what I want, and I hardly ever get to go to the store, and everyone else gets what they want. This despite the fact that he chooses to stay home and then doesn't tell us what he wants. And the things we want are just just groceries for the week. Anyways, this is basically it. I'm sorry for no big blow-off, but by this point in my life, I really have learned to work around his entitlement instead of trying to fight a losing battle. It really sounds to me like a man who's just kind of given up. I mean, I get that maybe in his life there's been some hard things that have happened and whatever, that's why you're wearing the same tank top 3 days in a row with crumbs on it, but does that really give you the right to bring other employees down and waste their time? I don't think so. Submit your story to be read on the channel at voiceyherestories@gmail.com and join our Voicey veteran community at r/VoiceyHere. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode. Alright, Voicey veterans, I'll see you in the next one.